So it's been a while since I've done a vehicle review, and this is not really a long-term review yet, since there's literally only about 350 miles on this. But I thought I'd give an update of something you didn't ask for. Added a new vehicle to the fleet. Obviously, it's the new Ford Ranger Raptor. And if you're like me and you're looking for content because you've got one ordered or you're thinking about ordering one, there's not a lot of content that I've noticed. So I thought I'd throw something together real quick on my process and how the whole process went to finally get this truck in my garage. So to start off, back in whenever it was in 2023, when the Ford CEO announced that they were going to bring the Raptor Ranger to the U.S. market, I was looking forward to it, excited about it, and I contacted one of my local dealers here and told them I wanted to be on the list. They obliged me and took some money down to put me what they said was going to be first on their list when the order banks opened. So I gave them money down. They took my name, all that stuff, receipt. We agreed on a price. It was going to be, MSRP. They say they don't go over that. All the other stuff. So a few months later, Ford opened the order banks, and I called that day, made sure I got an order in that day. Again, they had my money down and everything and said, we'd get the truck ordered. So the truck is then ordered, and while I'm waiting for it, they called me back and said they want more money than what we agreed on. That was a whole argument back and forth, and then they finally agreed to just honor the price they said before. And so I sat and waited. I got an order number from Ford. They sent me an email with the Ford, it was whatever letter it was, plus whatever numbers after the letter, and I was wondering if it was going to be an alphabetical or whatever order as they brought these in. So I waited for, build dates and all that stuff, and as they never came, and with the strike and everything else that happened, I was watching other people making orders, checking on forums, and they were putting in their orders well after I was, and their trucks were showing up. And so I was getting frustrated with my dealer, talked to them, come to find out they kind of put the order in wrong. It was a whole big to-do. And luckily I had another order with another dealer as well, but I contacted them and they told me I was like 12th in line. So I knew it was going to be a while. So while I've been waiting, I'm checking local dealerships, and I'd contacted another local dealership here who happened to say, hey, they had one coming in, and this was the one they were talking about was coming in. Now, I called them May 1st, and they said, we've got it coming in, you got to put some money down, we'll hold it for you. Kind of went over what options it had. It was very, very similar to the one I had ordered. It was missing a couple of things. It was missing this keypad. It was, I had ordered originally the beadlock wheels, and a couple other maybe minor things, but for the most part, it was the right color. It had the spray and bed liner. It had the tow. I think there's not a lot of stuff you add to this that it doesn't already come with. So I agreed, we agreed on a price. I gave them money down, and they told me it would be in, this was like May 1st. They told me it would be in between May 6th and May 12th. So I had just basically a week, 5 days window of when it was going to come in. On May 15th, I called the dealer. Actually, I think the dealer reached out to me and said, hey, the truck got delayed. It was put on a quality control hold. It had left the manufacturing plant in Michigan, and it got stopped in, I thought they said Ohio, but it may have been Illinois. It got stopped in Illinois, and it was sitting in a train yard. and it was on a quality control hold. And they told me they don't know why. They don't know what was the issue. They said there was a bunch of them on quality control holds, but that it could take a week or up to months before it was released based on what they've seen in the past. So I was like, well, my other order is I'm 12th in line and this one is the closest, so I sat on it and waited. Then around June 12th, so almost a week or a month later, I got notified that the truck was now off the quality control hold and it was shipping via train, and it would be to my dealer somewhere between June 20th and June 26th. On June 21st, my dealer contacted me and said it had arrived, it was at their shop, and I will attach a couple of photos showing it, what they sent me, showing it in their shop with the plastic and everything on it. It was in town. They asked if I could come up that day, get everything going, and so I agreed I would head up and pick the thing up. So one thing I noticed, once I picked it up from the dealer, the build date on this was actually April 24. In the door it says April 24, and so that's when the build date was on this. I've noticed that several of the other people, not a lot, but there's other people out there that have received theirs, and they've got some quality control issues. And I thought I'd kind of go over some of the things that they're seeing, what I've seen, and I'm wondering, the ones I'm not seeing, if that month while it sat on quality control was Ford going over it and fixing some of the quality control issues that other people had reported. It sat for, like I said, a month on quality control hold, and it had been built in April of 24. So I don't know when the build dates are from some of the other people that have reported some issues. And I'd like to know what those build dates are. If they were earlier, like in January, February, or if April being a later build date, they caught some of those things. I just don't, nobody's really said when their build date was and what their door tag says. But I did notice the day I picked it up that the odometer had 70 miles on it. So the quality control, apparently they used between them and the dealership, if the dealership really did any miles on it, but at least during the quality control inspection or however, whatever they were doing to it, they put 70 miles on the odometer. And, you know, I talked to the dealer, asked them what the holdup was, what they heard, and they said they don't tell them. At least my dealership said they never find out what the quality control holds are. So it arrived, again, plastic all over it, and it had 70 miles on it, and I assume that was to take care of any quality issues. So I was going to go, I just wanted to touch base on some of the things I've noticed and that other people have pointed out that I don't have the same issue with. Okay, so one thing I've noticed is the hood alignment. People have talked about the hood and how the hood gaps or alignment might be a little off or a little different. I've noticed, first thing first, is I did notice that it gets a little hard to shut the hood. You can't just open it and push it down. You've got to drop it, or at least I have to drop it from about 2 feet up, and then it drops and it shuts just fine. But while doing that, I kind of checked some of the gaps, and I did notice that this gap is just a tiny bit shorter, smaller than the gap on this side. And also, if you can notice, if you run your hand along the hood, when it hits the fender, there's just a little bit of a difference in height between the fender and the hood. So that should not be a huge issue to adjust, but there is that on the passenger side. Come over to the driver's side, and it's just flush. It's just there's no bump or no height difference between the two. Maybe a hair going from the fender to the hood. There is a little bit of a lift right there. So That's one thing I noticed on the hood and the gaps that other people have talked about, the hood being a little bit harder to shut. Another thing I noticed, and this is what I negotiated with the dealer when I put, when they said it was coming in and it was like mine, was this keypad. The keypad, if you notice, isn't body color. They just I had them put this on as part of the negotiation deal. And I don't know if you can tell, it's not really, but it's a little not level. And so I'm sure they just put that on in their shop because the pictures they sent, this wasn't on there yet. So they installed that on the shop. Got it programmed fine, everything works fine. Other people talked about the gaps in the tailgate. And I will tell you, there is you can see the light through that tailgate. So if you're planning on putting a tonneau cover, which I've got one on order, it's not going to seal up. They do make, I think, a seal kit for that when you open the tailgate, that it seals up against another piece. But if you're looking at keeping dust and water and stuff out with a tonneau cover, that is got a pretty good gap into the bed of the truck on both sides. All right, to address some of the stuff from the inside of the vehicle, people are reporting that the seats have been odd. That they've been loose, the leather's been loose, it's been kind of buckling or pillowing, whatever you want to call it. I haven't noticed that. I do notice that what I noticed anyway was I thought the stitching wasn't really done great. It's kind of, I wouldn't call that piping, but it just really isn't a clean stitch job. The seats seem to be not, loose or anything like that. Obviously, that's the driver's side. And again, I've only got 300 and whatever miles on it, but the seats seem to be fine for me. Something else that people pointed out was the center, whatever this is, covering the wires for the windshield doohickeys and sensors and stuff, that this was loose. You can see it's a little loose. It's not really, it's flush up against the headliner there, but it's fine. I wouldn't have noticed, wouldn't have even checked it unless other people were pointing it out. The other thing somebody's pointed out, and the glare from the sun is not great, has been this trim piece here. I, again, would not have even noticed anything had somebody not pointed it out. It's not a great angle, but this side does sit up just a little bit higher than this side over here. Supposedly there's a plastic clip in here that's not clipping down. Others have pushed on this and it really shows it bounce, but I really don't notice it, and I probably wouldn't have noticed it unless somebody pointed it out. Okay, now I'm sitting in it, and the one thing that I did notice that I haven't seen anybody say anything about is this stitch line right here. Now, because I noticed it, and I now see it all the time, if you follow this stitch line, and I don't know if you can see it from this video, it doesn't look very good on the screen. The stitch line follows the line, follows it, and then right at the end, it gets wider and kind of goes up a little bit. And again, being kind of picky, but it's just something that I noticed when you're sitting in here. So that's one of the couple of the quality control issues that I noticed on this one. Other than those issues, I really haven't noticed anything quality issue. Everything seems to be put together nicely. The seats all look good. People have talked about how hard it is to close the back seats. I don't see that issue. It's also been mentioned that it's hard to close the doors. And that's just a normal close. It's not slamming it, not shutting it hard, and they're closing just fine. Okay, so that's really, I don't have a lot of quality issues that I've noticed. I've gone over it pretty much with a fine-tooth comb. I've actually crawled underneath it. I've looked for, people have reported a rusting drive shaft. Mine's got a little bit of teeny surface rust, not like other people have reported, which is normal. I've looked at every little nook and cranny. I've read the different forums looking for the same issues that other people reported, and really that short list of what I've gone over is all I've really have noticed. So now I thought I would cover some of the things I wish Ford would have done differently. I guess my wish list. Don't get me wrong, again, I'm 300 and whatever miles into this truck, and I really enjoy it. But there are a few things that I've noticed, both driving and riding shotgun, that I wish Ford would have done a little bit differently. So I'll start on the outside. Other people have mentioned it, and I kind of agree. I wish Ford would have put this pin connector for the trailer kind of up in here, integrated it into the bumper somehow, put it somewhere that it wouldn't drag. It's, the lowest place at the back of the truck. Depending on what you're doing, you may end up dragging that and denting it or even ripping it off. Another thing I wish Ford would have maybe redesigned this step. It's not terrible looking, it's just kind of awkward. The truck is not high enough that it needs a step, but I'm glad there's a step there for rocks. So I get why Ford put it there. The thing about it is that I've noticed is it's a little awkward getting in and out of the vehicle because I don't step on it to get in. I step kind of over it, and the same thing getting out. I kind of have to do a wide step to get out over it to step on the ground. And again, because it's not high enough that you need the step to get in and out of the vehicle. So I'll stick with it now. I don't have really a problem with it. I like the fact that it's going to keep rocks from getting thrown by that front tire along the body of the truck. But as mods come out, I may look for something different as time, people develop something better. All right, and speaking of climbing into the vehicle, one thing I'm not thrilled about, it's not a big deal, but maybe as I get older, there's no grab handle anymore. That grab handle's gone. Other people have talked about it. Doesn't bother me too bad that the driver's side grab handle is gone. What really drives me crazy is that there's not a grab handle up here. When you're driving in this thing, and this is again made to go fast on bumpy roads, I've noticed when I've sat over there, the passenger wants to hold on to something, and this handle is way too far forward and awkward that you would hold on to that while, bouncing along. I have a Jeep. The Jeep's got that grab handle that comes along the front here, and you can get the aftermarket ones that go up in here. I wish Ford would have thought about that, either something along that dashboard to hold on to, or, something like these back ones. That you can just drop down and hold on to as you're riding as a passenger. It's got the climb-in handle. It just doesn't have anything for those whoops and bumps for the passenger. They've got nothing really to hold on to. I wish Ford would have put something in on that side for passengers to grab. Okay, I'm getting kind of nitpicky about some of the things, but one of the things that I wish Ford would have done maybe is the infotainment buttons a little bit different. You've got the selection here for stations and volume on this side. That's fine, I guess, right hand, left hand. I wish there was some stuff maybe behind the steering wheel that gave you more options on both sides. Again, I've got a Jeep, and they've got them back here, and maybe I'm just used to it, but it's really nice because I have other options besides just the volume and station selection. I know that's kind of picky, but one thing I wish it was maybe a little bit different. All right, so one of the big things, and I would trade everything for this, all the little nitpicky things, is air-conditioned seats. Now, my butt will warm up the seat, whether it be winter or summer, my butt will warm up the seat, but as much as I've tried, I cannot get my butt to cool down these seats. And when you're out doing trails or out driving all day, these get hot, they get warm, and I wish Ford would have just day one, like I said, I would give up heated seats, heated steering wheel, all that stuff to have air-conditioned seats. I hope, Ford moves forward and puts some air-conditioned seats in these things. They're a lifesaver. I never thought I would need them, but once you have them, it's hard not to have them anymore. And then really my last gripe is the truck I traded in to get this one was also a mid-size truck. It had way more storage than this one. There's no storage behind the rear seats, and there's two very small storage compartments under the seats. You don't get a lot of storage under here for whether it be recovery equipment, a first aid kit, whatever it is you keep in your trucks or cars. Storage is lacking, so just be prepared for that. Okay, so that's pretty much my gripes or wishes that I wish Ford would have done, and it's covers my list of quality issues that I've noticed. Again, I've kind of gone through it with a pretty fine-tooth comb. I haven't noticed anything. Some people have pointed out that there's a gap here where it isn't connected. I've got no issues there. I don't have the issues inside. Outside, I don't have the issues. So I'm hoping that month that it sat in quality control, Ford took care of the issues. I'll cover some of the things I've done already since I'm on the inside here. One thing I do on all my vehicles with these screens, I put a screen protector on that. Just, a good quality tempered glass screen protector. I put them on the screens just so I'll scratch it up versus scratching up the screen that's harder to change out, obviously, than just a screen protector. And then the other thing, due to storage, I just bought this center console tray here in the middle. It just adds a little more storage up top. That little one slides back and forth. You can't put a lot in there. So that center console tray, again, minor change on the inside. I have looked into some seat covers. There's some out of Australia that I've seen, but they're hard to get here, but hopefully somebody soon will come up with some seat covers. I plan on putting those on, even though, yes, the seats are nice, but the seat covers that are out of Australia kind of have the same color, stitching, different things like that. They look really good. On the outside, I just did those red tow hook covers. I just thought it needed just a little splash of color. I got a set for either the front or the back. I just wanted to see what they looked like. I like the color. They kind of match with the shocks underneath, and it just gives, like I said, a little bit of color. So I've got another set coming for the rear. The other thing I've ordered is a tonneau cover. It seems to be on back order, probably because everybody's getting their Ranger Raptors and everybody's got their orders in for the same tonneau cover. So I'm waiting on that. I've ordered also, and I'm debating whether I put them on. I can't decide. The amber lights. I've got the set of 3 amber lights that I'm going to put here. Ford obviously has already prepped the the grill for those. So may as well use those spots. And then the other thing is at the back, I'm debating whether I'm going to fill in the Ranger letters with, I usually do something, but I'm going to put some sort of decals in those Ranger letters. I'm just trying to decide what I'm going to do. One thing I purchased from the dealer, they talked me into, and probably not a bad idea, is the windshield. I've got a lifetime windshield replacement, no deductible. I've gone through a couple of windshields over time with rocks and out on trails and stuff like that, so I figured that'll be worth it. One thing I ordered originally but didn't get on this truck was that the wheels with the beadlock capable wheels. I like the look of them just because they broke up the wheel itself. They gave it kind of you know, just kind of broke up that pattern. But now that I think about it, if I decide I want to go with some different wheels over time, maybe change things out, I might be glad that I didn't pay the extra $1,400 for beadlock capable wheels that I end up wanting to change out. In addition to, if you decide to go with those beadlock capable wheels, come to find out, you know, they're basically $1,500 from the when you order them. And if you have them after, if you want to order them after the fact from your dealer, they are about $1,000 each. So you save, you know, about $2,500 if you order them directly from the factory. So right now, that's about it. That's about all I've got done. All I've done to the truck, and I don't have a ton of plans to do a lot of stuff. I may put some spotlights, marker light, or pot lights up here, ditch alley lights, whatever you want to call them. Utilize those switches, but maybe some in the back. I haven't decided. Some lights back there. We'll see what comes. I've got a trip coming up in August where we're going to go hit some trails in Colorado, and alpine trails and Moab, and then into Colorado. So we're going to hit a whole bunch of different types of trails. And I think I'm going to take the new truck versus taking the Jeep and just see how this thing handles, how it does on the trails. So keep watching. I should put some content on the road trip and things as I do, install videos and whatever else comes up. That's about it. I just thought I'd put this out there so people could see that there's some content and kind of know what to expect when you're ordering or getting yours in. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out and I'll answer whatever questions I can. Thanks for watching.